on?
No, Maddie doesn't really even tell him that she's pregnant. He'll find out.
You want your dad to show up.
The picture-perfect world of Kody Brown and his 4 wives was more than just a reality TV show. It was meant to be a statement. It was a carefully crafted image of a functional, loving, and even enviable polygamous family, designed to challenge the world's perceptions. But behind the forced smiles and the producer-fed storylines, a dark and insidious truth was festering. A truth built on a foundation of lies, manipulation, and deep-seated favoritism that would inevitably cause the entire empire to crumble into a pile of bitter ash. The question that haunts every viewer isn't just what happened, but how did one man's ego become the demolition ball that shattered so many lives? For over a decade, we watched the Browns navigate the complexities of plural marriage. They presented a united front, a sprawling and seemingly happy clan building a life together against all odds. They preached a gospel of shared love and family unity, but even in the early days, the cracks were there for anyone willing to look. A dismissive comment here, a flash of jealousy there, a subtle power dynamic that placed one wife above the others. These weren't just growing pains. They were the early tremors of a catastrophic earthquake that was building just beneath the surface. The dream they were selling was already a lie, and the nightmare was only just beginning to unfold. At the very epicenter of this familial destruction was Kody's undeniable and all-consuming obsession with his 4th wife, Robyn. Her arrival wasn't just an addition to the family, it was a hostile takeover. The delicate balance, however precarious, was immediately shattered. Kody, once a husband to 4, became a husband to 1, with 3 other women left to orbit his new son. He spent nearly all his time at Robyn's home. Her children became his priority, and his other families were relegated to the status of inconvenient afterthoughts. Meri, Janelle, and Christine were no longer partners. They were a supporting cast in the Kody and Robyn show, and the resentment began to build into a tidal wave of bitterness. The COVID-19 pandemic provided the perfect cover for Kody to seize absolute control. Under the guise of safety, he instituted a set of bizarre and draconian rules that served only to isolate him further with Robyn while punishing the rest of the family for daring to have lives of their own. His protocols were a masterclass in hypocrisy. He demanded that Janelle's adult sons, Garrison and Gabriel, cease all social contact or move out. Yet he and Robyn were free to have a nanny who traveled between homes. It wasn't about health. It was about loyalty. He used the global crisis as a weapon to test his family's obedience. And when they failed his twisted test, he cast them out emotionally, leaving them to fend for themselves in a world of fear and uncertainty. This was the final nail in the coffin of their supposed unity. Christine, the once bubbly, fun wife, was the first to officially break free from the sinking ship. After years of being emotionally abandoned, of being told she was the basement wife, and of enduring the crushing humiliation of Kody admitting he was no longer attracted to her, she finally found the courage to leave. Her departure wasn't just a divorce, it was a declaration of independence. She has since found a love that is pure and reciprocated with her new husband, David Woolley, and has made it crystal clear she wants nothing more to do with the man who systematically dismantled her self-worth. Her escape became a rallying cry for viewers who had watched her suffer in silence for far too long. Janelle, ever the pragmatist, was next to go. Her exit wasn't born from a single explosive fight, but from a slow, simmering realization that her life with Kody was financially and emotionally untenable. A fiercely independent woman, Janelle had always managed her own finances and prioritized her children's well-being. When Kody demanded that she choose between him and her sons, the choice was simple. She chose her children. Her departure was a quiet but powerful rejection of Kody's tyranny, a final statement that she would not sacrifice her kids on the altar of his ego. Meri's story is a long and painful tragedy of unrequited loyalty. As Kody's first wife, she clung to the hope of reconciliation for years, even after their relationship had devolved into a platonic, loveless friendship. She endured public humiliation when her loneliness led her into a catfishing scandal, a vulnerability for which Kody offered no compassion, only contempt. He made it clear time and time again that he would never see her as a wife again. After a decade of being emotionally exiled, of begging for scraps of affection from a man whose heart had long since turned to stone, Meri finally announced her spiritual release, ending a 30-year marriage that had been over for a decade. The Coyote Pass property was supposed to be the family's promised land, the physical manifestation of their shared future. Instead, it became a battleground. The raw, undeveloped land served as a perfect metaphor for their broken dreams. The arguments over who would build where and how the lots would be divided exposed the deep financial and emotional inequalities that had plagued the family for years. In a moment of shocking cruelty, Kody argued that Meri should get the smallest, least desirable plot by the noisy road because she only had one child. He reduced her worth in the family to her fertility, a cold and transactional calculation that laid bare the truth. In Kody's world, love was conditional. Kody's deeply disturbing and controlling worldview isn't reserved just for his wives. In a scene that made viewers' skin crawl, he sat down with his daughter Aurora's boyfriend to lay down the law. His rambling, cringe-worthy lecture on relationships, which included bizarre analogies and an insistence on patriarchal authority, was a horrifying glimpse into his mind. He was not a father offering guidance. He was a man obsessed with control, attempting to impose his outdated and possessive views on a new generation. The mask didn't just slip, it fell off completely, revealing a man profoundly threatened by the idea of women having their own agency. Now, with his polygamous kingdom in ruins, Kody is left with only Robyn. But even that last bastion of his ego is beginning to crack. Robyn herself has tearfully accused Kody of sabotaging their relationship. It seems the rage and bitterness he feels towards his ex-wives has become a poison that now infects his only remaining marriage. He is a man haunted by his own failures, constantly reliving his perceived betrayals and unable to move forward. Robyn, the supposed winner of the family Hunger Games, now finds herself trapped with a man consumed by his own demons. A king ruling over an empire of one. In a transparently desperate attempt to salvage his public image, Kody has recently engaged in what can only be described as a sham apology tour. During tell-all specials, he has offered hollow, half-hearted apologies to his former wives, words that are immediately contradicted by his angry tirades and blame-shifting. His performances are so unconvincing that viewers have overwhelmingly labeled them as staged and manipulative. He isn't sorry for the pain he caused. He's sorry he got caught. He's sorry he lost control, and he's sorry that the world now sees him for who he truly is. In a twist of absolute delusion, just as his family was imploding, Kody shockingly revealed that other women were still interested in joining him. After the world has witnessed his cruelty, his narcissism, and his complete inability to lead a family, he still entertains the fantasy of rebuilding his harem. It's a stunning display of a man who has learned absolutely nothing from the wreckage of his life. He doesn't want partners, he wants followers. He doesn't want love, he wants worship. And he is dangerously willing to repeat the same mistakes all over again. The conflict hasn't been confined to the television screen. Behind the scenes, the bitterness has spilled over into legal battles. Kody and Christine were reportedly engaged in a tense dispute over child support for their daughter, truly proving that their animosity is not just for show. This legal wrangling is just one more piece of evidence that the fallout extends far beyond hurt feelings, impacting the financial and emotional security of the children caught in the middle. There has been a seismic shift in public perception of Kody Brown. In the beginning, he was a fascinating, if quirky, figure. Now, he is widely regarded as one of reality TV's greatest villains. Social media is flooded with viewers diagnosing his behavior, labeling him a classic narcissist, a master gaslighter, and an emotional abuser. He has become a case study in toxic masculinity, a man who blames everyone for his problems while refusing to look in the mirror. He didn't just lose his family, he lost the respect of millions. The ultimate tragedy of this story is the irreparable damage done to the children. A generation of kids who were raised to believe they were part of one big, happy family have been forced to watch it disintegrate in the most public and painful way possible. They have been forced to choose sides, their relationships with their father and with each other strained, and in some cases, completely severed. The tight-knit sibling bond they once shared has been shattered, a casualty of their father's war against their mothers. That is a wound that may never heal. So what is the final chapter for Kody Brown? Is he destined to live out his days as a bitter, lonely man, forever ranting about the wives who abandoned him and the kingdom he lost? Or is this all just a prelude to a shocking third act, where he attempts to rise from the ashes with a new, younger set of wives, ready to repeat the cycle all over again? The only thing that is certain is that the man who once preached the gospel of love multiplied has become a walking monument to division and destruction, and the world is watching to see what he will destroy next.